let's go ahead and jump into the favorite part of our show. I think our band is the favorite part of doing these shows, but my second favorite part of doing these shows is let's talk about the movie. I guess the only movie that got really released this week that we actually cared about.
The
Um,
doldrums.
yeah, right. So yeah, let's talk about the movie that we care about this week. Marry Me. So no, actually, joke, guys.
Whoa,
Death on the
whoa, whoa!
Nile.
I was like, man, did I miss something?
We're going to talk about Death on the Nile today. So while on vacation on the Nile, Hercule Poirot must investigate the murder of a young heiress. Did I say that right? Heiress. Excuse me, a young
It's
heiress.
Hercule Poirot
That's all
and
that I said. What did I say?
Eris. You said Perrot.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. I'm gonna start giving these things to Jason to read, so that because
And then
everybody
so I
knows my
can pronounce them
deficiency
wrong
is
too.
reading. Oh, I don't know. So while on vacation on the Nile, Hercule Poirot, is that correct? Poirot
Oh, who gives a shit?
must investigate the murder of a young heiress. Belgian sleuth Hercule, is on vacation aboard a glamorous river steamer, turns into a terrifying search for a murderer when a picture perfect couple's idyllic honeymoon is tragically cut short. Um, I'm going to jump right on into this one and just cut real deep. Look, I'm going to do for you what this movie didn't do for me, and I'm going to get straight to the point. This movie got boring. This movie got boring as hell characters, man. The only interesting person in this whole movie is Hercule, and it's not because he's progressively interesting. It's just like he's the only character that seems like he has more stuff in his life going on than just what this movie's presenting to us. This is what I want to make sure we make a difference in. There are good performances in this movie, but the characters themselves are just very boring. So people acting out these boring characters are good at acting. The characters are just boring. Well, okay, sorry. Gal Gadot
Some
can't
of
act. Let's just do this now. She can't act. I don't want to have any more discussions about this anymore. I mean, I'm gonna let Jason get one comment about her acting before I continue. Do you agree that Gal Gadot in this movie pretty much is god
she
awful?
is the very worst thing about this movie. She
Thank
is
you.
terrible.
All right, I will return to my review now. Now that we both are in synergy with that. Um, and even I don't know, because I bashed on too many black people about the acting, so I ain't gonna bash on no more black people about the acting for this week. I'm gonna save it for another week. Also, the world doesn't feel that real or lived in. I don't know if it's because of the CGI backgrounds they were putting in here, but it just seems like this movie needed to have good characters and good characterization to make this believable. But instead, I felt like all the characterizations were just boring and flat. So that leaves us to the one thing that everybody probably cares about. How is the mystery? Because this is a mystery movie. Me, I'm a fan of a mystery movie. I did like Murder on the Oriental Express. I really loved Knives Out, which I think is a little lesser of a film than Murder on the Oriental Express, but I think I enjoyed Knives Out more. With all that being said, Scream 2022 did a better job than this movie when it came to mysteries. Like, I know when Jason, we talked about Scream, he had already called who the killer was. And then we watched Scream together, and he already called who the killer was right off the rip from Scream. This movie pretty much almost does the same thing. They even make a line for one of the guys about of his fortune. And then at the end, it's that person or that team of people or the thrumple of people that do this crime.
The
And it was
thruple.
like, this and for people don't know, I guess if you didn't get our excerpts, if we talked about the thrumples, but anyway, it was them, it was or him or her or the easiest
The
likely
person you
answer was
guessed.
the answer. Yes, it was the likeliest answer. So, but it was never like no any miscues or weaving us a different way or no. It was like, oh, nah, them jokers did it, and sure enough, them jokers did it. So what I will say about this movie, because they're like, damn, Jason, that's pretty harsh. What did you like about it? These are one of those movies I say, you've probably heard me before in reviews, and I go, it checks all the boxes of making a good movie. It just doesn't have any soul. Like, it's good writing. The performances are good. They're nice and strong, except for, we know, gals. the even the look of the film, because it's taking place in the past, the clothes, the costumes, the photography of it, they all look good when it's like relegated to the scenes itself. Now when they go to, again, the CGI for some of the backgrounds look kind of wonky, but I could excuse that. But all the things, if I were to go and say, hey, what makes a good movie, we start checking these boxes and it works. The problem with this is that it just doesn't have any soul. So if you were to come to me and say, hey, you remember that movie Death on the Nile? And remember that character that was like, and I'd be like, I don't know who you're talking about. The only characters that stood out for me were, it's a couple that you find out it's a couple that they didn't present as a couple. And that wasn't anything interesting because I thought that's what it was from the beginning. They just like made sure you knew it in the movie. Like
It looked
it,
in the camera and said, "No, this is what's happening." Yes.
right, right. It didn't take a detective for that. Anyway, so that is my review on Death on the Nile. Just a lot of boring characters. And for some people are going to enjoy this. I just didn't enjoy this. I just felt like I was there the whole time, knowing who the guy, knowing who the person, the murderer was, which is there knowing this. So yeah, Jason, what do you think?
I would have to mirror a lot of the things that you said. After the first half, right when Hercules Poirot gets into actually investigating, it does start to pick up a little bit and becomes more enjoyable for me. Right when he actually starts doing the thing that he starts to do. There's a one too many like twists and turns to care about that didn't really lead anywhere. Also, with that, like from the get go, basically half the suspects were discounted as suspects. Like there's at least four people there who are all in the suspect pool who's like, oh yeah, you guys aren't suspects at all. Like we're not like so you like already like throw out like most of the supporting cast as suspects. And very much so, the people that you think are behind it are the people that are behind it. And it's not very much of a climax. Yeah, Gal Gadot sucks. She should stop making movies and free Palestine. That those two are two different statements. But I really did really enjoy Kenneth Branagh as Hercule. He's really really good at that part. I liked the fact that they kind of like showed his origin a little bit. You know, he was in
Mhm.
World War One, the very first part. You know, even though like that mustache apparently can hide a lot. I mean,
Evidently, yeah.
um, but like even that really didn't have any payoff to it or go anywhere. I guess kind of at the end it might have had a little bit of payoff, but still it didn't really have that much of a payoff. Yeah, the whole first half of this movie is fucking boring. It is fucking boring. And it's boring to the point where it's like, even though they're setting up all these characters, as Jason said, like none of them are really like stand out as characters other than just placeholders for you to be suspicious of. You know, there's nothing like they each one gets their one little thing that might have led to the murder. Um, but it's like never really anything significant enough to be like, oh yeah, that's a pretty good reason. And it's just like yeah, they're just, like, there, especially, like, people who are boisterous personalities, like, Russell Brand plays this, like, absolutely nothing of a character, and, like, Russell Brand's one of these guys that is very flamboyant, very out there even in his a lot of his roles, but this one, he's
Hmm.
like, you wouldn't even know it was him if you didn't know it was him.
Right.
I do have to say, besides Kenneth Branagh, Sophie Okonedo, I don't know how to pronounce her name. I'm sorry if I'm butchering it. She also stood out for me, but she's been standing on everything that she's been doing lately. So, like, just put her in more movies because she's great. Other than that, yeah,
Um,
it's just what are you gonna say? You gonna say
for
something?
I guess for trying to pull her up here. Um,
She's been in a lot of things lately. She was in Aeon Flux. I remember that classic of a movie.
yeah, I'm pretty sure she doesn't remember that movie. But yeah. You're right. She's been in a lot of stuff, and yeah, put her in that. I think somebody, and I guess I got to give credit to someone else because they made this comment when I was leaving the movie theater, and I don't know the person, so I'm going to steal what they said, and whoever it is, just comment and I'll give you credit. They were like, this movie was more Guess Who than Clue. Was his
Yes, exactly.
does he
That's
wear a
exactly
red
what it
hat?
was.
No. Okay. Slap, 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 slap. Like, do they have a mustache? Yes. Okay. Slap, 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 slap. And it was like, all right, well, we only got 3 people left now. Like, this is pretty easy. Like,
Yeah. There was this one part that was supposed to be an emotional part because a character that is close to another character is murdered. There's a lot of murder going on in this thing. Uh,
hmm
it did not work for me so much as that the character I did not realize. I mean, didn't have any connection to, but Kenneth Branagh for me did sell like his. I guess his reaction to it, and that's what I liked about it. But other than that, like this movie was just overly like they could have cut the first half out of it and just got straight to the meat and biscuits, and it would have been an hour long, but it would have been an entertaining hour, if that. Even though you would have guessed who the killer and or killers are. So
all
yeah,
right, I gotta ask because it's gonna itch me if I don't. And do you feel like Shuri is a good actress or good actor at this point?
no.
Okay, good. Because I didn't want to be the one to say it. Let me say change it. I didn't want to be
All
the
right,
one to first say it.
let's just say
Like it's a period piece, and she's playing a black woman in a period of time where we know how we were treated, and
mhm.
she be talking to people like, "You, these jokers will throw you over this boat and never think twice about this, and no police will give a damn that you're dead." Like,
I do like some of the aspects they put. Like there was this one line that Sophia Okinindo, please tell me if I'm saying it right. She said, because their motivation was that when they were kids, they tried to get her kicked out of a pool or something like that,
right,
whatever. And like she said in this line, I loved it. She said, if I, wanted to kill every white woman for trying to put me in my place, there'd be a whole lot of dead white women out there.
right, right, right. I thought that
And
was beautiful.
that was just so great. So other than that, yeah, Letitia Wright, yeah, she's not that good.
I mean,
And the fact
it's
she's anti-vaxxer doesn't help, my
oh
opinion of
yeah, yeah. I mean, is there things there that we could say, oh, positives about her performance? Absolutely, but is it enough for me to be like, oh, I can see some potential? Nah, I'm good. Her and Gal Gadot, I could cut bait with, but I would give her more of a pass because I want to see more black women in things. So I'll let her live on that one. All right, let's go on to the ratings. People are gonna hate me. They're gonna be like, bruh, we see why you
it.
married that white woman because your ass is just so
Racist. You're
what
a
would you
racist,
give
Jason.
Death on the Nile?
As I said, it picked up in the second half, so I can't really fault it that much, but shit's still pretty boring. I'll give it a 2.5 out of 5.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a 2. I can't do it. I can't.
Gal Gadot's
It's
acting is pretty terrible,
yeah,
but
yeah.
spoiler alert, you don't have to deal with it for long.
Look, man. Good thing while I was in the theater, I had me a nerd focus. One of the biggest problems that we weren't around is because I drank all my nerd focus. I was out. I was lethargic. I was tired. I couldn't focus, man. So, if you want to keep us making these things regularly, we got to keep us focused. And how you keep us focused is by you buying some nerd focus. The link will be in the description. And then that way, when they give us money, we can give it back to them by buying nerd focus.
More
And then
nerd
we stay
focus.
focused. So it's just a cycle of nerd focusing all the way through the nerd focusing of the most nerd focusing. And we all will be pleased. We all will be focused. We all will have the brain power to give you all what you need and all what you want all the times. I mean, Jason was drinking it and he may have some prospects for a girlfriend because he was able to talk to girls.
No, I tried. Look, some problems cannot be fixed.
That being said, please go ahead and try some Nerd Focus. The link is in the description.